Hello and welcome to War Secrets channel. In an era of great aircraft, the B-58 Hustler was one of the most aesthetically beautiful planes ever to fly. The bomber's delta wing, massive engines, and incredible performance led to the legend that pilots could practically tear the bomber's wings off if they flew it too quickly. In this video, join us as we will tell you about the Convair B-58 Hustler. But before that, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell button to be notified whenever we publish a new video. First operational supersonic bomber. The B-58, the United States Air Force's first operational supersonic bomber, flew for the first time on November 11, 1956. The Hustler's defining feature included sophisticated inertial guidance navigation and bombing system, a compact wasp-waist fuselage, and effective use of heat-resistant honeycomb sandwich skin panels in the wings and fuselage. Because bombs cannot be carried internally due to the thin fuselage, a droppable two-component pod beneath the fuselage held a nuclear weapon, as well as extra fuel, reconnaissance equipment, and other specialized gear. A pilot, navigator, bombardier, and defensive system operator made up the B-58 crew. Convair produced 116 B-58s, including 30 test and pre-production planes and 86 operational planes. Between 1960 and 1970, Hustler served in the Strategic Air Command. B-58s won 5 distinct aviation trophies, in addition to setting 19 global speed and altitude records. On March 5, 1962, the B-58A set 3 speed records while flying from Los Angeles to New York and return. The Bendix and Mackay trophies for 1962 were awarded to the crew for their efforts. In December 1969, it was flown to the museum. Ground maintenance trainer. The B-58 Hustler was first delivered to Kelly AFB in March 1960 as a ground maintenance trainer. With a wingspan of about 57 feet and a length of just under 97 feet, it required a 3-person crew to fly and was notorious in its sonic boom, which bystanders on the ground could hear as it passed supersonic. The B-58 did not enter Kelly's maintenance shops until 1962, when SAA-MA paired up with Convair to launch the Hustle Up modification program. Engineers, commanders, and other personnel at Kelly Field were expected to provide near-constant management and weapon support for the fleet. Kelly personnel were responsible for converting the test fleet of aircraft to the tactical mode by installing multi-weapon carrying capacity and a better ejection system and logistics supports. Major General Lou Curtis, one of these men, became the head of San Antonio Air Logistics Center at Kelly AFB. 64 aircraft had been through maintenance for modification by time the program ended in 1964. The B-58 Hustler, designed to fly at high altitude at supersonic speeds to avoid Soviet interceptors, became the first operational bomber capable of Mach 2 flying on January 14, 1961, when it broke a close course speed record. On that day, Lieutenant Colonel Harold E. Confer, Lieutenant Colonel Richard Weir, and Major Howard Bialis flew Convair B-58 A-10CF Hustler 592441 over a 1,000 km closed circuit at an average speed of 2,067.58 km per hour, 1,284.73 miles per hour, breaking the previous records by more than 200 miles per hour. As the 1960s continued, fewer B-58s entered Kelly's repair facilities as routine inspections revealed a variety of issues, including poor plumbing and electrical, as well as a metal fatigue. Due to the problems such as restricted range, inability to deliver conventional bombs, high operational costs, frequent aerial refueling, and a high rate of unintentional losses, the B-58 Hustler was eventually phased out after 10 years. The inception. In the medium bomber role, the Hustler was the direct successor of the B-47 Stratojet. From overseas bases, medium bombers were expected to attack the Soviet Union. The distinction between medium and heavy bombers had eroded when the Hustlers entered service. Because of its introduction of area refueling, and the Air Force worries about security of forwarding air bases and U.S. allies' reservation about the placement of strategic nuclear weapon on their soil, the B-58 would only operate from U.S. bases. The B-36 Peacemaker, which served as the USAF long-range strategic bomber for much of the 1950s, was Convair's first foray into the bombing game. The B-36, despite its size and slow speed, could cross seas while carrying a hydrogen bomb, making it an essential part of the U.S. nuclear deterrence. The MiG-15 and other Soviet interceptors, on the other hand, rendered the B-36 obsolete and threatened to cause issues even for newer jet aircraft like the B-47 and B-52. The Hustler was nothing like the Peacemaker. The B-58 is a delta-winged aircraft with 4 massive engines that can reach Mach 2 while carrying a nuclear warhead and fuel tank under its belly. The B-58 would be launched for American bases and backed up by a ring of KC-135 tankers, allowing it to reach Soviet airface at high speed and altitude, evading Soviet interceptors and delivering its nuclear payload to a variety of targets. The Hustler made its first flight in 1956 and went into service in 1960. The Air Force purchased 116 B-58s at a cost per unit, compared to the B-52 Stratofortress. 40th Hustler. The 40th Hustler, the Convair B-58A-10-CF Hustler/59-2437, was built in the early 1960s. This aircraft was initially assigned to the 43rd Bombardment Wing at Carswell AFB before being transferred to Little Rock AFB in Arkansas. It was dubbed Firefly 2 and Wrigley's Baby and was grounded permanently in 1968 owing to damage to its central gear strut upon landing. It was eventually displayed at Kelly AFB in 1991. The Convair B-58 Hustler was built for the U.S. Strategic Air Command in the late 1950s and serviced by the Kelly AFB workers in 1960s. It was designed to meet the Air Force demand for heavy bomber with a combat radius of 2,500 miles. San Antonio's participation with the B-58 began in 1955, when the San Antonio Air Material Area (SAAMA) was named the Chief Air Material Area for the new jet, assuming responsibility for both primary and specialist repair. Kelly AFB formed a B-58 control group in early 1956 to oversee supply, procurement, and maintenance activities. Convair B-58 Hustler Speed Freak. The B-58's lightning-fast speed was both a blessing and a burden for the 3-person crew. The aircraft's speed made it particularly impossible to chase. However, a normal ejection at Mach 2 would be unsurvivable in the event of a catastrophic airframe or system failure. Despite this, the initial B-58s were equipped with standard, rocket-powered ejection seats, resulting in multiple deaths. The B-58s were finally refitted with an enclosed ejection system in 1962, thanks to common sense. Engineers at Convair employed a unique honeycomb sandwich design to accomplish the required high strength and low weight. Sandwiched between aluminum panels were sections of fiberglass honeycomb, which were subsequently connected to the wing's frame with temperature-resistant adhesives. The honeycomb panels were meticulously molded, resulting in stiff and resilient structures, an essential characteristic for a wet wing carrying 65,000 pounds of fuel. The exterior pod of the Hustler was an essential feature of its aerodynamic design. Weaponry, fuel, and equipment could be deployed independently or together in the pod's interchangeable compartments. The configuration proved to have drawbacks throughout the design phase, as every time the designers wished to change the airframe, they had to change the pod structure as well. Despite its advanced hardware, the B-58's short range hampered its admission to SAC arsenal, and the bomber was nearly scrapped several times during development. Although advancement in area refueling substantially increased the bomber's range, SAC leaders challenged the overall worth of an airplane that was so reliant on refueling to perform its mission. The B-58's complicated flight control system was a source of constant frustrations for designers, pilots, and mechanics alike. The bomber lacked horizontal elevators and wing-mounted ailerons due to its delta wing layout. Instead, it used a complicated system of linkages to connect the elements, a mix of ailerons and elevators on the wing to the massive rudder. What do you think about this America's Cold War nuclear bomber blunder, the Convair B-58 Hustler? Were you amazed by the supersonic bomber? And also, what are your thoughts about this video? Feel free to drop your reactions and responses in the comment section below. And before leaving, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications on our future content. See you in the next video.